Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Rob again with Perfect Spiral Capital. Today we're going to start the process of core concepts of Nelson Nash's book, Becoming Your Own Banker. We're going to look at Nelson's principles that he listed in his book, and we're going to look at each of those. Now, each of these videos will be on each one of these core concepts, but in whole, they should be looked at together. But for the sake of time, we're only going to look at one at a time. To get started, Nelson had some really good key points that I think are really important to internalize and think about more than just the words of what they are, and to really dig into what's actually being said, not only as it applies to the infinite banking concept, but I think even just for our lives in general. If we were to adopt these concepts or principles in our own lives, even if we weren't practicing becoming our own banker, it would probably help us out pretty significantly. So let's take a close look at each one of these. First and foremost, we're going to run through the list, and then today I'm going to focus on the first principle. So the first principle is to think long range. The second is to not be afraid to capitalize or to capitalize your system. The third is to not steal the peas or don't steal the peas. And this simply means to pay yourself back in different situations. More to come on that as we break these down over time, over the course of a few videos. Number 4 is to not do business with banks. And there's more to this one as well, but it's avoiding the third-party banking system by leveraging the infinite banking concept. And again, more to come there. Number 5 is probably one of the most important ones in this entire list that I can really think of, and that's rethink your thinking. And this is something that we should be continually doing over the course of our lifetime, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. That's its own episode, its own video for a different day. Lastly, and this one's not officially defined as one of Nelson's principles. However, it is one that he wanted to add later on, or at least that's what David Stearns has told us. And that is to be prepared for windfalls. It's having a place to be able to put or place a large sum of money that we may get in the future and being prepared for that. So like I mentioned, these concepts that Nelson brought forward are valuable for becoming your own banker, but they're also valuable wisdom for just our general lifetime. So let's take a look and dig into the first one here, which is thinking long range. For many people, thinking long range is a relative term. Early on, it might be thinking 10 years out. Maybe as somebody hits their 40s, it might be about thinking about retirement. Maybe it's thinking about grandchildren in some ways. But what about really thinking long range? What about thinking 2, 3, 4 generations down the line? Maybe even more. What do we want that future to look like? What do we want that legacy to look like that we are potentially able to contribute to and do something about? That's really what Nelson was talking about. And that legacy isn't simply just money. I think that's really the furthest thing from this entire process, or what Nelson was really talking about. It's more so about education. How are we educating? What are the steps we're taking to instill proper value systems into our children, into our grandchildren, and so forth? And then what can we do to help influence those individuals for down the line? One of the things that I'm doing is, in this case, I'm recording a video about it, right? So hopefully my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and beyond, they can see that this stuff was important to me. And hopefully it's important to them, and that these lessons are things that they can learn from. Now, granted, I plan to record some things on a more private scale as well, but I also took the time to write a book, and I put a lot of those ideas down already because that legacy and that long-range thinking was really important to me. And I wanted my kids and my family to better understand where I'm coming from and to help lever them up a little bit further than where I was and where I started from, much like my parents tried to do for me. So why do we think 3, 4, 5 generations out? Well, we have to think about how to get there, right? So we have to kind of scale that back. What are some of the steps that I can take today that would help position my family, my children, my great-grandchildren in a better position? Well, that starts with knowledge, like we were just talking about. but it can also start with how we implement the infinite banking concept, much like what Nelson was talking about, in that it's going to provide a springboard for each generation from here forward. In addition to that, as our capital expands and as our resources expand, we can also think about how to pre-springboard those individuals forward as well by looking at the distribution of age classes and how we structure our own banking system for ourselves individually. And we can do that by following those steps that are listed out in page 71 of Becoming Your Own Banker, where Nelson helps us to see what that long-range thinking and that long-range planning can look like. I would really challenge you that if you have not read Becoming Your Own Banker, number one, read it. Number two, start thinking differently about how you go about your day-to-day activities. And are they applying to that long-range process? Are they applying to that long-range thinking? Does your current strategy today, whether that's your financial strategy or your strategy for your family, does it incorporate that long-range thinking? Those are areas that I would challenge you to think about, challenge you to learn more about. There's a couple of different colleagues within the Infinite Banking Concept Practitioner Network that have written some amazing books about generational aspect. In wrapping up today, I think it's really important that we consider what Nelson was really trying to tell us with his first principle of think long range. It's thinking long range, not just in the aspect of money, but it's thinking long range in all aspects of our lives. And how can we make a lasting impact for those around us, for the benefit of those around us, so that we can create lasting value for those around us? Those are important things to really think about. And I just challenge you to do that. And it's something I have to constantly challenge myself with. So you're not alone. And I'd love to talk to you about if it's something that you're really starting to think differently about. I hope this video was valuable for you today. Please feel free to like and subscribe. And if you're interested in learning more about the infinite banking concept, please feel free to check out the links that are in the show notes to get your copy of Becoming Your Own Banker today. And once you've had a chance to read it, feel free to reach out. I'd love to talk to you about it. I hope this was helpful and insightful for you, thinking differently and looking at how we can really think long range. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you again soon.